is it, or why do I consider it an art? And how does this relate to a career in technology, software development, or coding? That's what I'll be teaching on today. If you have any questions in the meantime, don't hesitate to leave them in the chat box and I'll get to them in a little bit. So, investing 101, what is an investment? What does it mean to invest? So in my book, You're Your Greatest Asset, I definitely talk about a lot about you being your best asset. A lot of people like to start with real estate, stocks and bonds, all these things you've probably heard. But for me, I think of myself as my most valuable asset, because if I'm my most valuable asset, I can attract all the money, happiness, and joy in the world that I want out of this life. So an investment is the majority of your time, talent, and energy, is where you put the majority of your time, talent, and energy, because that's what makes a commitment. So a lot of you probably put a lot of time, talent, and energy into Suncoast Developers Guild. I'm a Southern girl, so forgive me if I mispronounced it, but a lot of you probably put a majority of your time, talent, and energy into this. Some of you might do Netflix, which I'll show you in a little bit, but what you put the majority of your time, talent, and energy into, notice I didn't say necessarily putting a little bit of money here and there. I'm making it very clear that there are three main elements of an investment that you have to be wary of, because that's what's going to show you your return on investment. A ROI, which you probably heard before if you are interested in investing or have dabbled in it, is your return. So when you invest your time, talent, and energy into something, what returns are you getting? And are these gains conducive to what you wanted out of life? And if not, then maybe you need to change how much time, talent, energy you're dedicating to certain things, or AKA committing to certain things. So I like to teach investing in not just financials, but relationships with other people, with school and education. I'm a lifelong learner, and I teach my students, you always have to continue learning because this world is always changing. So if you think you're going to be stuck in one way of doing something, I wish you well on your journey to success in a world like this, especially in the age of technology and software development. Netflix, there we go. Netflix. I hear a lot of people use Netflix in a lot of social colloquialisms, and it makes me a little sad because Netflix is making all the money. You have invested in Netflix. You invest time, talent, and energy into Netflix. So not only are they creating multiple streams of income because of your investment, what are you getting out of investing so much time, talent, and energy into Netflix outside of maybe temporary pleasure and a little bit of entertainment? If y'all don't have any stocks, if y'all don't have any brand deals with Netflix, I would recommend you stop giving as much time, talent, energy to Netflix unless you're already financially, personally, and professionally set. And in terms of jobs, when you invest the time, talent, energy into a job, what's the return on your investment in this career path? And I think a lot of us just settle for in our personal lives, professional lives, whatever, because we haven't either created ourselves to be a valuable asset to this world or to whatever it is we're investing into, or we simply do not understand the value that we bring to the table. So whenever I walk into a room, a relationship, doing a recreational activity, I understand that I am an asset to wherever I go. And I know this may seem extreme to a lot of people, but hold on for a little second. I understand I'm an asset, so I'm expecting a return on my investment, whether it doesn't have to always be business, whether it's simply having quality time spent with someone. That's also a return on that investment, because we all need that human connection as well, outside of just money. So just make sure, in short, that whatever you are investing into, relationships, education, take a step back. I would say every month, take a step back, assess your return on the investment you're making, whether it's time, talent, which can be skill, or money. So barter trade is still a thing if y'all didn't know, and energy. Take a step back and ask yourself, what are the gains I'm getting? Because time is the one thing you can't get back. So make sure you're investing it wisely, because time is genuinely your most precious resource, and you are genuinely your greatest asset. And that's really all you have at the end of the day. The best investments then. So good. You understand what investment is. You understand what makes an investment, what goes into it, and the different types of investments outside of just financial, like real estate, stocks, etc. But what makes the best investment? What is like the guideline, the framework for the best investment? I've created this framework called A plus ROI, which is like A plus return on investment. And an A plus ROI, how do you decide what that is, what that looks like? Here's my investability skill builder model. Associations, A plus 100%, network to net worth. I fundamentally, holistically believe in it. And it is the one thing you can always rely on in terms of making your next career move, finding your next career move, building those skill sets, knowing what's the latest in your field, in your industry, connecting with the people who know what's the latest in your industry and field, and having that supportive community around you. We are such, especially in America, we're such an independent society where we want to do things on our own and have this self-made title. But the truth is we weren't made to do it all on our own. We're human beings, we're social creatures. So the first thing you need to ask yourself when you're investing in a relationship, education, etc., is the association. By association with this person or these people or this educational curriculum or this financial entity, whether real estate, stocks, bonds, content creation, etc., what is my return? What are the priorities I've set for myself? And does this associating with this person or group of individuals or this educational institution set me up to adhere to my priorities, which are my values? For me, my priorities are peace, purpose, and prosperity, but ultimately peace. So if anything I do doesn't lead to internal and external peace, we can't coexist. I can't be a part of it. I can't do this. So know your priorities and the vision for your life. I know what I want for my life. I know what I want to achieve. And it constantly evolves because I'm constantly assessing my investments and the return on it. And I'm constantly evolving as a person. So it's very important that the people around you, the people you associate with intimately or not, are a part of your priorities and vision for your life, or else your investment is bound to not have any long-term substantial effects on what you want in the future. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. Relationship nurturing. Pretty much everything I just said, except now it's not just about what they can offer you, but it's about what you can offer them. So are you actually nurturing these relationships? Do you reach out to check on people? Do you not just sit back and be like, oh, are they doing this? Are they doing this? Are they reaching my priorities and vision for my life? But am I helping someone else? Am I helping someone else do the same for them with their priorities and vision for their life? And do I want to be a part of it? So it has to be mutual. It has to be twofold. Ongoing education and financial growth. So now we get to the finances, which is what most people think about with investability, but it literally all starts with the relationships and association. And I promise you the money will follow. So ongoing education. I am a lifelong learner. I said it before. I will never not be a lifelong learner, but knock on wood, never say never, right? Ongoing education. You have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Even if you don't believe in investing or anything I'm saying, the one thing you cannot deny is that the world is constantly changing, which means what you know has to constantly evolve and shift and grow with it. Unless you don't mind staying stuck, to which I am not talking to you. And financial growth. Like I said, with everything else, when you find your purpose and you do what you love and you're helping people and you're nurturing these relationships, nothing but good things can follow, including opportunities to grow financially. People would want to pay you for what you can do for them and do for their lifestyles, to transform them as people and in their lives. And with software technology and coding and software developing, that is a part of our world today. The internet is not going anywhere anytime soon. So if you can take that and use it to transform the lives of other people, including your inner circle, financial growth will be instant and forever for you. And if it's part of what you actually want to do in life, that purpose will make you want to wake up and do it. And so the opportunities will be endless for you. Invested. Are you committed to everything I just said? Are you committed to the associations, the priorities, the vision? Are you committed to the relationship nurturing? Are you committed to ongoing learning, ongoing education? And are you committed to holistically looking at your life and determining whether or not this is something you truly want to do? Or are you just invested in the financial gains that you could probably get from it? Because that gets old real quick. Investing as an essential skill builder. So not only do you have these skills, the networking, the lifelong learning, the financial growth, and the commitment that you'll get from it. But the top 5 skills you'll also get from investing, especially if you go into passive income investing, which is what I teach, and I'll give more information on that in a little bit, are analytical and risk management. So with specifically passive income, which can be real estate, stocks, bonds, even life insurance, which is something I teach, or content creation, blogging, vlogging for those who are into software development, website building, etc. You learn how to analyze the current circumstances around you, your relationships, etc., and then determine whether or not the risk of taking it. So you do learn how to take risks, but you learn how to take risk, take educated risks, is what I'm trying to say. And so you have these analytical skills where it's more business minded now. It's more it's not amateur anymore when you get into investing, because you're looking at things, you're looking to do things in the short term that have a long-term effect over a long period of time, where some people, especially with the companies you might work with, they're like, for the short time, this is what we need because this is the world we live in. But do they see the evolving process happening, and are they looking into that? And you could be somebody who will be that asset to them in that case. And that's why a lot of businesses today aren't still here, because they weren't prepared for the shift of digitization and technology. So just things like that makes you a great asset to a company. Lifelong learning. To be honest, the people who run a lot of these companies you'll be working for either rely on their employees to help them, foresee what's going to happen, or they're just very stuck in their ways, and they're like, we've been doing this for such and such years, and this is what we're going to keep doing, because if it ain't broken, it don't need to be fixed. Well, it ain't broken right now. But a few years down the line, everything you work so hard for will just break down. So you could be that person who bring these creative, innovative ideas with the analytical and risk management skills that you have to foresee that this is the way the world and the market is going. Here's what you could possibly do to not only maximize your profits, but to maximize your relationship to your consumer base. And yes, you can do that with technology and software, because again, the internet isn't going anywhere, and there's so many possibilities, not just technology and internet, but so many possibilities for the industry you all are in. Adaptability, pretty much the same thing as lifelong learning, except it's more now you are so flexible. You have a structure to your flexibility. There's a method to the chaos, and that's always an asset to anything, relationships, career, finances, everything. How to follow without being a follower. So even though you're staying up to date with what's happening, that doesn't mean you have to do it. It doesn't mean you have to cave to what's happening. You just need to stay up to date so that you can be prepared, and you can make sure that your competition who may come out of this will have no bearing on you and what you're doing. Or if they do have a bearing, is to push you to grow and be the best you can be, but not for you to try and become them, if that makes sense. And that's a skill that people who've been here for decades have not mastered, because they still want to be accepted, even though they want to be successful. And if you can learn how to be accepted in your own lane and trailblaze your own lane while keeping tabs on what's happening in the world, but still be successful in your own lane, you will have no choice but to stand out and be an asset, a unique asset to a company or whatever career path you want to go down. And thus, all of this leads to efficient working habits. So I'm someone who works smarter, not harder. And with passive income investing, that's what I intend to do. So you free up more time to do more of what you love. You free up more time to invest back into education or other skills. You free up more time to refine the skills that you have. And like I said, time is your most precious asset. So if you can free up time, talent, money, skills, and energy into reinvesting back into yourself, your skill sets, your education, etc., which again leads to the financial investment and growth, that's what more can you ask for, really? So these are the top 5 skills that you would get from investing. How does it relate to software technology and development? I pretty much already said it, but essentially you are in an industry where it will continue to evolve and rapidly. As I speak, it is evolving rapidly. So you have to stay up to date with what's happening in your industry, but it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be overwhelming and complicated. You don't have to steer over hundreds and thousands of internet articles. You really just have to A+ ROI. This is the simple way of staying up to date in your industry and being a competitive asset. Everything I just said, from the A plus associations, priorities, and vision for your life. That's where it all starts. And then nurturing those relationships, association, nurturing that priority and vision. And then a lifelong learning. And then that leads to the financial opportunities and growth. I think we like to start with the financial first and neglect the ongoing education, relationships, association, priorities, and vision. And then we're like in our mid-life wondering why the heck we just didn't go for our purpose, because the promises that we were given with the financial growth wasn't as fulfilling as we thought it'd be. So if you start with the associate's priority vision, not only will you live a fulfilling life, but those, I promise you, with the nurturing of those relationships and the ongoing education and knowing your priorities and vision for your life and sticking to it, the finances will come. It will. And it's hard to believe that when you grew up poor like I did, grew up in poverty, but it will come. Focus, and continue learning. So here's an opportunity to work with me. I want to give y'all a gift and free resources and thank Suncoast developers for having me today. My gift to you, I would like to offer anyone, well, 10 people, the first 10 people, free 30-minute passive income coffee chats with me, plus lifetime access to my online membership program. Not only will you have the opportunity to learn these skills I talked about, but you'll see it in practice and you will have the associations around you with the people who are interested as well. So yes, I'm teaching you the financial portion, but most importantly, I'm focused on those important things that we tend to neglect in our chase to the finances. So all you have to do is email the First Lady of Poverty Foundation. Sorry, I lied. Email the First Lady of Poverty at gmail.com, or send to me on Instagram at Advance to Manifest a short video testimonial of your feedback, good and bad, of this talk, and the first 10 people will get access. And remember, you are your greatest asset. Invest accordingly. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope this was at least a little bit of help to you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask.
Yeah, thank you so much. Anybody have any questions for Shatoyia before we move along? We've got a few minutes. Really liked what you said about Netflix. That's been resonating with me for the last 15 minutes. Started thinking, what am I doing with my life?
No, you know what? At least you're questioning it. Some people don't want to go into that. You know, I probably wasted my life, but what am I going to do now? It's confusing. It could be scary, especially if you thought you already knew, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But no hate to people who watch Netflix.
No, not at all. Okay. Well, for Brad's talk up next, Brad had something come up and he recorded his talk and sent it to me in advance. So I'm going to stay on stage and share Brad's video. And I want to thank everybody for, yep, this is how I do my virtual round of applause, because you can't hear everybody. So I usually come back and I do one of these. Well, we do have a question. Eric asks if you invest in any cryptocurrencies.
Here's my thing with cryptocurrency. I'm still learning. That's something I've definitely, in Bitcoin, I've been looking into. Here's the thing. I think people think it's very developed, but when you associate with the right people, not just people who have their opinions on it, but associate with the people who are actually investing in it and watching the market of it, it's not super developed right now. And so I would say if you're going to invest in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, to answer your question, I have a little bit of a stake in it, but not too much and I'm watching the developments, kind of like watching the stock market. I'm watching the developments and associating. And so, yes, a little bit though. And I wouldn't invite anyone to start investing in cryptocurrency and Bitcoin unless you can afford to lose it, whatever you invest in it.
And I would definitely say, don't buy right now because it's up like 300% this year or something.
But see, it depends, right? So you gotta think of like the short term versus the long term. So if you invest in it right now, kind of like with Amazon, right? Like and I'm not telling anybody to invest in Amazon. Do not do that. But I'm just, because people will be like, huh? No, don't do that. But if in a short term you foresee, and right now I don't foresee it, but if you foresee something that's costly right now, that's going to give you like 5 to 10 times more on that investment, maybe a year or two from now, while you're doing your thing in the world, and then all of a sudden you have all this cash, then Sure, go ahead, but I don't foresee that happening right now with cryptocurrency and Bitcoin.
Great. And then somebody else asked if we can enable the stage chat. Yes, I just turned it on. I wasn't sure if it would be confusing with the event chat plus the stage chat. So I turned one off, but I'm happy to leave the stage chat on as well. Thank you, Brandon. Great. All right. Thank you so much, Shatoyia.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.